Has X-Plane 12 improved their VR experience? Well, in this video, I'm going to find out using these settings in the Quest 3 using Link. Now, it's funny because this channel first started with X-Plane 11, and in my opinion, during that time, Laminar Research were the leaders in producing the most incredible and immersive general aviation VR experience. So needless to say, when X-Plane 12 was first released with many new features, I was hoping Laminar Research would build upon that VR experience. Sadly, that wasn't the case, and when I first tried it in VR, I was very disappointed. Which is a great shame because, as you can see here, I'm showcasing many of the great features that X-Plane provides for VR users. The way you can grab your maps and charts and interact with the aircraft using the VR controllers is really unmatched. Another example of this is what I'm doing right now, looking around my aircraft and using the teleport feature to really explore the scenery. I used to love doing that in X-Plane 11, and getting up close and personal to some of these massive airliners, wow, it actually really is still impressive even today. And I remember one of my first VR experiences was using X-Plane 11, and just seeing the sheer scale of all these aircraft were fantastic. So let's now go flying and see if things have improved. I've got the weather set pretty rough today, and I'm not even using my yoke. I'm actually using my VR controllers of the Quest 3. If you're wondering how I'm doing that, well, I'm using some grips from Aubika. And no, this is not a sponsored segment, but I thought I would let you know, since it might be useful to you if you're using a Quest 3. These grips are really cool because they sit tightly onto your hand and you don't have to keep gripping the controller. They just kind of float like the index controllers. And I really like, as you can see here, how you can manipulate the aircraft using the de-ice feature, which we're going to need today in this weather, without having to fumble around and keep them gripped into your hand. I also like how they are rechargeable. You don't need batteries because it has a rechargeable battery inside, and there's a connector at the back so you can just recharge them overnight, no problems at all. That's pretty cool, and I thought that's definitely worth mentioning in this video, since I am using the controllers in X-Plane 12 right now, and I was quite surprised how much fun I had in this sim. There's a certain feeling of flight, a fluid feeling that you can't really replicate in MSFS unless you have very expensive high fidelity aircraft such as the A2A Comanche, which does use its own external flight model. But just look at the graphics here. I'm really glad to see that X-Plane 12 is looking a lot better. Now, you may disagree with me, but I think the lighting in X-Plane 12 looks a lot more natural. And I'm so glad to see the clouds look really good now. And in VR, I've got to say, they look every bit as good as MSFS, if not better, simply because you don't get that pixelation anymore. So in terms of performance, I am using a 4090 for this particular test, with the Quest 3 oversampled by 1.5. But it does feel pretty good using this particular setting here with the default scenery, and it's got me thinking, what could this sim look like with full photogrammetry, which I have tons of from over the years. But I do feel the OpenXR runtime is the way to go, and I'm getting around 40 to 50 frames per second in this scene here whilst recording. That's not amazing performance though, and I do feel MSFS is better still. And overall, I do feel that Microsoft Flight Simulator just is far better in VR overall, far snappier, and is more stable, because I did get a few crashes even with this test. Anyway, buckle up now, because to finish this little preview video, we're now going to go for a spin in the F-14 Tomcat. Drew, if you're watching this, please look away now. Seriously, this does not end well at all. But I was thinking of using X-Plane 12 for the first time in my motion rig, because I've never actually used this sim with my full setup, and with that fluid feeling of flight, I'm wondering whether it will feel very different from MSFS. If you would like to see more content of X-Plane 12 on the channel, please do let me know, because it doesn't seem to get a lot of interest, which is a shame considering, look at it now, it does look really good. And I do feel slowly but surely Laminar Research are improving X-Plane 12 to a point where it might actually be a viable sim for you. So as we go through the cloud here, notice how it's a lot more seamless and there's no pixelation. I do feel here they've done a better job than Asobo. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. But there's no doubt about it, with my first little test with X-Plane 12, after quite a long absence, I am definitely getting more and more impressed and more intrigued by this sim. I'd imagine with lots of add-ons like you would with MSFS, this would be quite a powerful flight simulator and definitely has its own thing going on, which I love. Anyway, I think that will do for this first impressions look at X-Plane 12 in 2024. Please do let me know in the comments what are your thoughts on this sim. Is it a viable option for you? Do you use X-Plane 12? Do you prefer it over MSFS? Let me know, join the discussion, and I'll see you again on the next one. Take care and bye for now.